Today, I'm here with Justin Tamsett. He's recognized worldwide as a thought leader in the fitness industry. Justin's a highly sought-after speaker because he shares practical ideas that can be implemented immediately. Justin runs the Industry Leaders Roundtable for club owners and personal trainers around the world. And you'll stay ahead of the industry curve and grow profitably after listening to this episode with JT.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. All right, what's up, JT? How are you?
Yeah, good morning. Oh, good afternoon. Whatever time it is.
Well, you're in Australia, right? So what time is it where you are? Because it's 1:25 in the afternoon here.
Oh, it's 7:30 in the morning.
It's the 4th for you. It's the 5th for you. Wow, so
Yes.
you're ahead. Oh, man.
Yep.
What's tomorrow like? Is it going to be a good day? Just so I know, going into it?
Look, going into it, it's a bit cloudy. You probably...
Oh, man.
Take the day off.
Take the day off.
Go do something cool.
Yeah, I'll do something cool. If tomorrow's going to suck, I'll just do something cool. All right, so you have a lot of great insight. You've spoken to 40,000 people in 2016, all in the fitness industry?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Man.
Sure did. That
So-
across 18 countries and I think about 3 online events and then 8 or 9 conferences as well.
What are some conferences that you've spoken at?
Yeah, I've spoken at Arce, International Health Racket and Sports Association's big conference, and speaking again this year in 2017, which will be my 10th consecutive year speaking at that conference.
Okay.
I speak at the Australian big conference, which we call Filex. I spoke in China this year. A couple of years ago, I spoke in India.
Wow.
There's a lot of places I've spoken to. Yeah, it's a pretty cool job I've got. I'm very lucky.
Yeah,
Very
so...
grateful.
So when people ask you to speak, what are some of the topics that they ask you to speak on, more than anything?
Yeah, it's a good question, Mike, and I've certainly, my history is I owned health clubs, but I owned health clubs 20-something years ago. So, what's important to me is when I speak at conferences is that I don't actually go in and tell people how to suck eggs. So I'm not going in there to talk to them about, how to have a cancellation policy or even to a certain extent how to sell memberships. That's operation-based. That's stuff that they do every day, and there are thousands and thousands of consultants around the world that can help at an operational level. So the presentations that I do tend to really focus on consumer behaviour, consumer trends, best business practices, and developing culture within your organisation.
Okay, very cool. So we're going to go through a bunch of really great questions that I got here for you, because the guy that talks to 40,000 fitness professionals throughout a year, I got some questions for you. So let's start with what are the agendas that business owners seem to operate in?
Yeah, it's a funny sort of question, that one, because people don't, I think, kind of understand what an agenda is. It's like when you go to work, what do you focus on every day? And I would guess, you guys in America know this. I mean, depending our reach and our international reach, some people in Guatemala may not know this game, but you know the game Whack-A-Mole?
Yeah. Yes.
You know how cool it is? You put your quarter in and those little things
moles
pop up
come.
and you're going bang, 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 and then they go faster.
Yes.
And then they go faster, and then they go faster until you can't get them all. And for many fitness professionals, regardless of the size of the business, that's what happens when they go to work.
Okay.
I remember when I owned my club, I'd walk in, I've got my bag in one hand, I got my coffee in the other hand, and you get to the front desk, and the girl behind the front desk or the guy behind the front desk says, "Oh, hey JT, I've just got this really quick question for you." And I'm like, and culturally in the organisation, we kind of think, well, we don't want to be rude to this staff member, so I better drop everything and answer her question. And after running fitness businesses for 30 years, Mike, there are quick questions, but there are never quick answers.
Right. Right. That's a good.
So it's like you put everything down, and then 30 to 40 minutes later, you finally arrive in your office.
Mm-hmm.
And so the agenda that generally is what we would call Agenda 1, which is operation-based. And everything that we do in our business on that daily basis, that grind that many people call it, is Agenda 1. It's where we go in and we are just doing and going through the motions in our business in order to do what the business needs us to do. The clear understanding for us, though, is if we want to grow our business, we need to operate in Agendas 2 and Agendas 3. So Agenda 2 is where we're looking at more strategic direction for the business. How do we get better? How do we make this business better? We might be talking about goal setting. It might be professional development of our staff, whatever it may be. That is Agenda 2 stuff. But that requires thinking. And guess what people don't generally like to do when they go to work? Think. When you're in Agenda 1, you can get some really quick, easy wins. And you can walk away at the end of the day and go, well, I helped 10 people do their job better today. And you feel really good about yourself. But did the business actually move forward?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. Because we're playing whack-a-mole, we got rid of those moles, so I feel good. Agenda 3 is where we work on ourselves and we work on us becoming a better leader, better entrepreneur, and actually work on professionally and strategically developing ourselves, not just our business. So Agenda 2 is the business getting better, and Agenda 3 is us getting better. And the majority of fitness businesses, owners, they just are focused in that Agenda 1 because they can get those easy wins, they get that endorphin hit, makes them feel good, but it doesn't actually take the business going forward. Does that make any sense?
No, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And, I would probably say that's not just for the fitness business. I think it's a lot of small service-based businesses where, there are a lot of questions and there are a lot of things to think about and focus on. But if you're not positioning your day and if you're not, living your day with intention, knowing this is what I'm going to do today, no matter what, everything else takes a back seat to that, unless it's like urgent, of course. I think a lot of people deal with that. So, but...
Yeah. 100%. I don't care. You could be a big organisation. You could be Macy's, you could be Zappos, you could be Amazon. And in that one department that you run in that big business, again, it's a lot easier to operate in Agenda 1 because you haven't got to think. Right. But the real growth and that corporate word that we call hypergrowth, that hypergrowth is going to occur when we're operating in those Agendas 2 and Agendas 3.
That's obviously a lot of stuff to consider, especially when you're thinking, okay, well, how do I do that though? How does my employee come to me with a really important question to them is really important, stressing them out? There's a lot of things with leadership and culture development that you need to consider. If you're running a business right now, let's say a fitness studio, right? That's pretty much our audience. Where do you look for inspiration to, improve that part of your business and any part of your business? What are some places you go to?
Okay, so the first thing, my recommendation, and I guess this is kind of a little bit left field. Is that left field?
That's right to me, but it's all right. I mean, you're in Australia. It's tomorrow. We're already off in so many ways, so it's fine.
I guess this suggestion is just a tad left field, and that's this. I think that as an industry, our inspiration has to come from other industries. If we compare our business or look for inspiration against other fitness businesses, we only get as good as another fitness business.
That's funny that you say that. Yesterday, my favorite, I'm not a car guy. I'm not interested in cars. It's not my thing. I didn't grow up a car guy. Nobody in my family is really a car guy. But I love the Tesla, and I love what it stands for, and I love all the cool, it's technology. I love technology, and the car is technology. Yeah. So yesterday, I went to test drive a Tesla, and it's so funny. Cool. Oh, yeah, it was really cool. I'm getting that this year. So, I'm getting my Tesla this year. But
I like it.
I test drove the one I wanted, and I was asking them about, certain promotions they run, and they were telling me about this one promotion, and immediately I thought that's something I could do in my company. It's very, very similar the way we do ours, but there's a better twist to it that I haven't thought of. And so starting next week, we're actually running a cool promotion that was modeled after Tesla's promotion, not another fitness marketing company or a podcast, So I agree with what you're saying, and a lot of stuff that we've done. In fact, the new GSD show, which you'll see in about a month or so, it was inspired by Sports Center. So we're going to have like all the different the sidebar with all the different topics that we're going to be discussing. That was inspired by Sports Center. So I 100% agree with you. I think you could only be as good as the best in your industry if you're just copying everyone in the industry. But you go outside of it, you can find ways to really make your business better and almost look innovative by taking an idea that somebody else already came up with, but now integrating it into your company and your style.
Exactly. Particularly when you look at marketing, the marketing in the fitness industry is very pedestrian at best. Mm-hmm. And, all we're doing is we're just replicating what each other are doing. And that example that you just gave of Tesla is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant because it's like, okay, let's look at what's working outside the industry. How can we, like a piece of plasticine, manipulate that around to then produce us this beautiful marketing piece or marketing program that we can use in our industry? And that's what I'm talking about working in Agenda 2. You worked in Agenda 2.
Right.
See, Agenda 1 would have been you've been coming and go, okay, here's our promo. We're going to roll it out, da-da-da-da-da-da. But you, yesterday, when you're in Tesla, you're thinking, oh, yeah, and then you automatically slipped into Agenda 2 where you're strategically working on the business. It wasn't operation-based.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think a lot of people do that. Even when they go to restaurants, they'll get service from a waitress and they'll immediately think, I like the way she said that. And maybe you're thinking about hiring her, or, maybe you're thinking we should be doing more stuff like that, And
I'll challenge you on that, Mike. We're not all thinking that. I'm thinking that, but I can guarantee you 95% of fitness pros out there are still thinking when they're at dinner that night, they're thinking, okay, so how do I close more sales? Do I do a longer pre-chat with them? Right. They're not thinking about strategically. They're thinking about the operation and how that tour actually works, or whatever, the group fitness class or the PT session or whatever it was.
Yeah, you have to be always on, and little things like I went to the Hyatt. You go to the Hyatt and you see the way they treat you. They remember you by name instantly, and little things like that. I think all business owners, you're 100% right. All business owners, it would be so much better if anytime they experience the service as a customer themselves or as a lead themselves, did you like it or did you hate it? And why did you like it and why did you hate it? What made you think about it tomorrow? What made you talk about it to other people? And is this something I can integrate in my business, even if I tweak it to make it fit, but what can I take away from it?
Well, Seth Godin's definition of remarkable to me is the best one, and that is worthy of remark. And for me, our goal should be every interaction with, whether it's a member or a client or a prospect, should be remarkable. And if we all think like that, then we're going to start looking outside the industry, because there are some businesses that truly are remarkable that we can just pick a little bit out of and then pop into our business. I know business owners in the fitness industry that will go to the Hyatt or go to the Hilton or go to the Westin and just simply sit in the lounge out the front of the reception area and just watch the dynamics and watch what happens with a pen and paper, and that helps them get an idea of traffic flow in their club or in their studio.
Right.
That's where you go for inspiration. I mean, if you've got a speed hump, if you've got a blockage in your business that's operational based, then you definitely go to conferences. Absolutely, 100% you're going to a conference. And even you're going to listen to some podcasts, but this podcast and the GSD show, when you're watching that is all about Agenda 2 stuff.
Right.
You're giving Agenda 2 information to people, and they walk away and they go, oh, wow, that was awesome. And then they flip straight back into Agenda 1 because someone's put up their hand and said, hey, I've got a question for you.
Right. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. There's a lot of people, and same thing with conferences. People go to conferences and they're so inspired, and then by day 2, they're back to the normal routine. I think out of 100 people that probably go to conferences, maybe even 100 people that read books or, go to podcasts for education, I think maybe a few of them will actually start implementing and commit to the implementation. I think a lot of people will implement a little bit or get started or start writing down ideas and whiteboarding a plan, but actually executing long enough to be able to see it come to fruition, that's something that maybe only a couple people do. And that's why we do this show weekly. And that's why we do so many videos and content, because I feel like when I'm at a conference, if it's a 4 or 5 day conference, I'm not only learning all 4 or 5 days, I'm not only inspired those 4 or 5 days, but anything I learned in day 1 or 2, when I go back to my hotel at night, I'm implementing those things from day 1 and 2. And in day 3, I'm implementing stuff from day 2 and 3. And then by the time I go home, I got a rhythm. But with the show, an ongoing thing weekly, and all the blogs and content we do, I feel like it's a great way to constantly just stay in front of people. Are you still going to have people that are going to flake on and off? Yeah, but the people that are ready for it, the people that want it, here we go. You got the ingredients, you got the recipe. Now start cooking. You're good to go.
I can't tell you how many conferences I've been to, and people will pick up this damn thing, this smartphone, and check their email at a conference.
I know.
And when you're at a conference and you're checking your email, you're slipping straight back into Agenda 1.
Right.
And that's just, that phone is simply going to flatten any innovation and ideas you're getting, because you're going back into Agenda 1. You've got to stay. Look, just between you and me, let's come close. Let's get serious. If you don't reply to an email in 24 hours, your business isn't going to go broke.
You're fine. Yeah, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But we're such in a habit, and we've been trained by that phone with notifications to check. I'm not going to lie. I got this Apple Watch. It took me a while to start looking at my watch when I wanted to know the time. And when I wanted to check and see if I got a notification, I would check my phone when I was bored just to see if I got a notification. Even though I get a vibration on my wrist every time I do, you still check your phone just to see what's going on. I think there's good habits and there's bad habits that you build. I think that's a habit that we've been, we've had instilled in us. You're absolutely right. When I go to a conference, I totally want to check out. My team knows, hey, if it's not urgent, don't bother me. Don't talk to me. Don't solve it yourself or tell them to hold on. And they do a good job. And you're right. The business never suffers. The business still keeps moving forward. In fact, sometimes it gets better because they learn how to do a lot of the things on their own, which is great.
Exactly right.
All right, so here's another question for you. You've talked to 40,000 people just in the last year, which who knows how many people that's been in the last 11 years that you've been doing this stuff, coaching. I think every fitness studio owner that I talk to wants to be different. They even go as far as saying they're different, even when they're not different, right? So people will come in and they'll say, well, what's different? Why you guys and why not everybody else? And they'll say, oh, well, we're different or we're better. But you look at them and they're the same. So for everybody that wants to know how to finally do it, how do you actually make yourself different? How do you separate yourself from all the other fitness studio owners that are out there?
There's a couple of authors I'm going to talk about in this answer. One is Jay Baer. Jay Baer wrote his awesome book called Hug Your Haters. And what Jay Baer talks about, which I found quite inspiring, is don't say you're better, say you're different. Don't compete on being better than somebody else. Compete on being different. There is one thing that every single person watching today's show differentiates them from everybody else. And that is why they do what they do. In 20-something years in the industry of talking to fitness professionals, I'm yet to hear deep down the same reason somebody is a fitness professional. Now, a shallow answer, which you would hear, and I hear all the time, particularly with new people into our industry, is this. So, Mike, why do you do what you do? Oh, I'm passionate about health and fitness.
I love the word passion, huh?
And I can say this in Australia, it's because we're not politically correct. We never have been and probably never will be a politically correct nationality. I just go, that's bullshit. Then my next question is, okay, well, why are you passionate? Hey, hang on. You peel that onion back one layer too far. I go, I've only peeled it one layer. Wait till I rip in. And literally, when you sit down with somebody, and this comes from Simon Sinek's books, Start With Why. And if anybody watching today has not read that book, don't read it. Just watch his TED Talk for 18 minutes. It'll be a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But either watch his TED Talk or read his book or do both. And it's something that, it's a book and a TED Talk that I would revisit every year, beginning of every year, just to make sure that my why is very clear. And so my recommendation is that people watch this or listen to this and then go somewhere, because you can't do it in your office and you can't do it in Starbucks. You've got to go out into nature, sit by the water, walk through the bush, no phones, I'll listen to my beats while I think. No, you've got to be at one with yourself, and you've got to peel that onion back to get to that core reason of why you do what you do.
Okay,
and
so
it's not because you're passionate.
So real quick, I agree, because my best thinking has happened when I am in nature, sitting on the beach or walking, right? But I got a question for you. I noticed you got a wedding ring, right?
Yeah.
I do too. I'm not going to lie. If I said to my wife, hey, I'm going to go to the beach for 3 days by myself, she's going to be very frustrated that she can't go. Why do you get to go? That sounds like a cop-out. Do you really need to go to the beach for 3 days by yourself to think? And now the cool thing is, I say my wife, I would say out of most people I know, my wife would be the most understanding, because she knows that
That's why you married her.
What's that?
That's why you married her.
That's why, well, she wasn't like that in the beginning, because I didn't have a business when I married her. But what I will say is that she really knows that I'm into this stuff and that I read these books. I share some of this stuff with her. So she'd be more mad that she can't go than anything else. But talk about, let's say, I agree with you. You got to separate yourself. Is this something you can bring your family to and then step away for the morning? Or is this something you really need to immerse yourself in for like a full day or 3 days? How can you get around it if you have a full family and you need to go and get away and get in nature?
Yeah, look, I think you can actually discover why you do what you do in just a couple of hours.
Right.
I think when you're doing a strategic development plan for your business, then I do believe that that's where you need to extract yourself out of the business and you go to the beach for a couple of days and, take the family. Yeah. And I think if you take your family, then that also has this influence that you kind of are thinking in the back of your head, okay, to strategically develop my business, I've got to have balance, because there's my kids, there's my wife. So part of my strategic plan moving forward is this balance. If you do it in isolation, then you're in this silo and you're not taking into account 2 or 3 screaming kids, you're not taking into account your wife or your family. So, I think when you're strategically developing, involve them. But I think when you're thinking about your why, this will sound a little bit weird, but I'll often say to some people, have a couple of beers. Because once you've had that truth elixir, you start to really drop your inhibitions, because the why is down here. It's right in your deep gut. And as humans, we don't often get that low. We don't get right down in there. So we've got to be in a position, or get ourselves in a position that allows us to really analyze that. When I did this exercise with a client, it took us about 2 hours, and we went through, I think, almost a full box of Kleenex tissues. Because, we identified that she grew up in a very dysfunctional family. And when we drilled down through that dysfunctional family, it came because her parents blamed each other because her brother was obese at school, who was bullied and had an attempted committed suicide.
Wow.
And she identified that's why she does what she does, because she doesn't want any other kids to be overweight and go through that experience when they're at school.
Right.
And I'm like, I said to her, there is not a single person on the planet that would have that story. And that is why you are different to every personal trainer. Mm-hmm. You've now got to have the confidence and the strength to share that on your website and in your marketing, that people go, wow, I want to work with her because of that. And Simon Sinek says, people don't join our business, they don't friend us on Facebook, they don't become a client of ours because of what we do, it's because of why we do it.
I think definitely being very clear on what your why is a great idea. It's hard to find it sometimes. I mean, some people need coaches for that. It's hard to really find out what your why is, because sometimes you get it gets diluted with what's practical. What do I really love? And as soon as you start thinking, yeah, but I can't make money in that. What else do I love? And you start thinking about other things, and you just need to get down to what you really want to do and why you really love doing it. And if you could do that, I mean, there's a guy that made like $1 million in the last 2 years selling mason jars on Amazon. Did you hear about this guy? Mason jars. It's insane. So if you want, you can do whatever you want. Just you got to be the best at it, and you got to commit and fully immerse yourself into it. Did you agree?
Yeah, I agree, 100%. You ask gym owners, why did you get in it? They're like, oh, because I just love health and fitness. It's like, yeah, but you can still love health and fitness and become a property mogul. Why?
Right.
Put your money in the bank, you'll get a greater return on investment, many of them.
Right, I know. It's tough. It's tough, and it's tough because they do have a passion for health and fitness, but there's more whys. You gotta be like a 5-year-old, right? What does your 5-year-old do? I have a 5-year-old. Yeah, I gotta go to work. She just said it, right? Because Christmas break is still on for her till tomorrow, right? So she's like, where are you going, Daddy? This is just this morning. I'm going to work. Why? Because I need to go to work. But why? Because I need to make money. Why do you need to make money? And it just keeps on going. Oh, we had somebody ask, we're Facebook Live. Nick asked, what is the name of that TED Talk again? I believe it's by Simon Sinek. Well, it starts with Y is the name of the book. I believe the name of the TED Talk is How Great Leaders Inspire Action. I think that's what it is. By Simon Sinek. So if you check out Simon Sinek, you'll be able to see that.
When your daughter said to you, you said, I'm going to work, and she said, why?
Yeah.
That's where you should have said your why.
Yeah, to her, huh? I was in a rush. I had to get...
But that, you know what? When we're coaching personal trainers and we're coaching studio owners and gym owners, and someone goes to them at a networking event and they go, oh, so what do you do? 9 out of 10 of them would say, oh, I own a gym. Mm-hmm. Or, yeah, I work in a fitness studio. If someone comes up to me and says, so what do you do? I go, what, me? I reduce the healthcare costs of countries across the globe. Really? Well, how do you do that? Well, I help get people moving more often. Let's talk.
Right. I think finding a niche is something that a lot of successful businesses have done. And you don't have to just niche in, just back pain. You can niche in just women or just men. You can niche in, I only do, weekend trainings, or I only do yoga or whatever. But there's so many ways to niche, but you got to make your story much easier to tell.
100%. And you got to have enough confidence and pride, which, looking at most Instagram accounts of personal trainers around the world, they do have enough confidence and pride. They've got to take that visual confidence and pride to be able to actually articulate that and say that. You get through way more doors than saying, I'm a trainer, I'm a studio owner.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Awesome. All right. Fitness studio owners, 2017. They need to get their hustle mode on. It's January 4th year, 5th there in Australia. So they got 361 days left. How do they get their hustle mode on? Give me like 3 tips or 4 tips, whatever you got.
Okay, first one. You aren't going to believe how simple this first one is. Work out.
Just look the part?
Last year I did my very first marathon. And my business grew more in that year strategically than it has any other previous year. Because I don't have one of these things while I'm running and I'm out and I'm thinking and my mind wanders, which allows the ideas and innovation to occur. And then I come back and get into my office. I've got all these endorphins running through my body, and I just then go, right, bang, here are my ideas, do a brain dump, and then that's my Agenda 2 and Agenda 3 stuff, and then I can get into Agenda 1. So for me, one of the key components of being a successful fitness business owner or any business owner is that you need to exercise. and you need to exercise before you're going to work in agenda 2.
Okay.
Because we need to get the oxygen in the brain, we need to get the endorphins going, we need to be vibrant. And if we're going into a workout or we're going into a walk, even if we're going outside and we're walking for 45 minutes, if we're going into that, knowing that when we come out of that, we're going to then be thinking about marketing or culture development or human resource management, then I guarantee in that walk, 20 to 30 to 40 to 50% of the time, you're going to be thinking about that project you're going to work on when you get back.
Okay.
So you're getting a double whammy. You're getting the exercise component and you're getting that creative thinking before you come back. So I find a lot of particularly studio owners and gym owners don't work out like they used to.
Because to them, they're active throughout the day. They're running classes. They're staying active. They're burning calories. But it's not.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's not about burning calories. This is about freeing up your head to do thinking.
Right. Right. I agree with that.
Because when you're teaching a class or when you're taking a client, that's not thinking. That's operation. You're present for that person or that class.
So I got a question for you. You're running. You don't have your phone on you. I'm assuming you don't have a pen on you. You come up with one great idea right away. How do you just run to the office, just change routes and write it down, or what do you do?
2 things. I hope like shit I remember it. But I will repeat it to myself, that idea, probably 3 or 4 times in my head. And you don't say, don't forget, because when you say the negative, then you will forget.
You say remember.
So you just go, hey, remember, JT, remember what you need to do, da-da-da-da-da-da. Remember you need to do da-da-da-da. Remember you need to do da-da-da-da. Remember you need to do da-da-da-da.
You know what's funny? I went to see this guy. He was a memory expert. In fact, he competed. There's Memory Olympics. I don't even know if you know this. There's Memory Olympics. And this guy competed in the Memory Olympics and he won. He memorized like 1,700 names in a book and what number they were. So you can say, 1012, and he would go Sergeant John Peterson, right? Like he would know that. And he's a memory expert, and he wasn't always. He started memory training because he wanted to be a better student in college because he wasn't good at memorizing things. So he did memory training. He started reading a bunch of books. He became a memory expert. And he says that same piece of advice, never say don't forget. He says remember. And I thought that was pretty intriguing. Okay, cool. Awesome. So that was one.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, interesting. You just shared something from outside the fitness industry that we can all benefit from. Don't look inside the industry. Look outside it if you want to grow.
Unbelievable. You see how that works? Awesome.
So that's my second point. Nice segue. Did you read the script? Because number 2 is stop looking inside our industry. Let's look outside the fitness industry for best business practices.
Right.
For me, if I'm going to get a business coach, I'm going to get a business coach who's not up to here in the fitness industry. I'm getting a business coach who's out there can help me with an online business if that's where I'm heading. Or I'm going to get a coach who can help me in the areas that I'm weak. I'm weak in finances, so I'm going to get a financial expert to help me. Or I'm weak in marketing, so I'm going to get a marketing expert to help me. I'm not going to get a personal trainer who made a lot of money because they had a great location and sold the business and is now a consultant.
Right.
There's sometimes in life we just get lucky.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that you're going to make a great coach.
Right. Well, because it's just like, you take guys like Larry Bird, and you take a lot of athletes that have become coaches that weren't great coaches, and it's not that they didn't know how to play the game. It's not that they weren't gifted with the things needed to be able to be successful while playing, but coaching also, it doesn't just mean that you know what to do and how to do it and you know how to work hard. You also have to know how to teach. You have to learn how to listen. You have to learn how to ask the right questions, how to almost kind of shift a person's mindset. You have to be a great salesperson because you have to get them from thinking this way to thinking this way for an extended period of time. And a lot of people don't have that. They only have the experience of being a player, but not a coach.
That's right. It's a very different skill set.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think if we're going to get our hustle mode on, a lot of fitness businesses, whether they're a studio, whether a full-blown gym, they all have personal trainers. And we're saying to our clients, if you want to get faster results, better results, more comprehensive results, you need to have a personal trainer. You need a coach.
Right.
Yet when we look at our own business, we're not prepared to make that investment. We're looking for a shortcut. So my challenge, if you're going to get your hustle mode on, is that you really need to look at a coach. But my challenge is don't look at a coach for a coach's sake. Look at a coach who has a niche, who has value that can add. You might only use that coach for 3 months.
Right.
But your business will go from here to here if they've got a real niche or strategy.
Well, and here's the thing. So let's say you're an 18-year-old kid and you decide you're going to be a marketing expert, right? So you're about to go to school and you have to pick your major. What major do you pick? Marketing, right? You pick marketing. So you're 4 years in. You spent, I don't know, depending on what school you went to, you could have spent 40 grand. You could have spent 200 grand. But you spent a lot of money as an investment to be able to use this information to be more successful in the future in the area that you want to be successful in, the area that you felt you needed more strength in. And it's an investment. Unfortunately, it's not as practical in college sometimes. Some things are, right? Medicine is great and law is great. Marketing is too quick, way, way too quick to get a lot of practical stuff that works right away. But either way, you spent that money for a reason. Now, when you're in business, you already have a business that's probably making a little money in the area that you want to be successful in. All you need is a little education in specific areas in order to make more money, right? And so I agree. If you want, for me, we have our podcast, right? The one that we're on right now, and I want to learn how to promote this better, how to get more out of our podcast. And I went to a conference. I saw a speaker. I thought he was great, and all he really talked about is the podcast that he took to an entirely new level. And so I found him backstage. I said, "How much do you charge, and how can we work together?" He charged $5,000 for a day, right? It's pretty steep, but it's not $200,000. And on top of the $200,000 that you would pay for school, I have to be there for 4 years. So $5,000, I'm done in a day. And the funny thing is, a lot of people look at it different. They go, $5,000 just for a day. Look, it's not about how long. In fact, if you can get me everything I need in one day, I'm good with that. I don't want 5 weeks. Get me everything. And I'll tell you right now, that was the best money I spent in a day, right? Because I got so much out of it and I learned so much. And I think the same thing with Facebook ads. I hired a coach. Guy charged me $18,000 over like a 6-week period or something like that with different things that I bought from him. Best money I ever spent. That guy quintupled that money in the recurring model, which means over the course of a year, it's like 20x, right? So I agree with what you're saying. I think people look at coaching the wrong way. I think they look at at a holistic, I just need a business coach. I think it's great to find a coach that, okay, this is what I need help with, and be very clear with your coach. This is what I need help with, and how can you help me with it? And then also look at the expense of a coach as very, very minimal, and the time you spend with a coach as a great deal, right? 4 years versus a day, $5,000 versus $200,000, and I can integrate it into my business today because I already have a business. Versus college, I still need to go find a job and somebody that'll hire me with what I learned. It's so crazy, but people don't think about it that way.
That's right. Yeah, we're trying to sell that in our businesses for why someone would have a personal trainer. It's exactly the same.
Right.
There's no difference. So if we believe that every client in our business should have a personal trainer, then it's almost hypocritical that we don't have a personal trainer for our business.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of hypocrisy to it, right? What's another thing a fitness professional will tell their clients to do? You got to get outside your comfort zone. You got to be uncomfortable. If it's too easy, it's not going to work. You have to get to the point of pain. And then it becomes easier, and then we do it harder. There's no difference in business or being successful in anything that you are not great at already, right? Which is pretty much anything. You have to be outside of your comfort zone. You have to do things that make you uncomfortable. You have to stretch. It has to be painful. And you get good at it, and then you add more things. It's just the way it works to get better at anything. Do you agree?
100%. But that's operating in Agenda 2 and Agenda 3. But we like to operate in Agenda 1 because it's simple, it's safe, and it's operational, and I don't have to think.
Right.
Point number 3 is discipline. One of the things that I'm really keen on businesses having is a theme for their year. And this comes from Vern Harnish's book, Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. And in his
Scaling
book,
Up or the first one?
That's his first one. Scaling Up's the second one.
Yeah.
And he talks about themes in Scaling Up as well. But what he suggests is that you have a different theme every quarter. And one of the things for that is that requires a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of brain power. And so I'm saying to fitness businesses, just have a theme for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that theme should galvanize your thinking as the business owner, as the leader, galvanize that, and that will help develop your culture that you're developing in the business. That theme should galvanize all of your team, and then galvanize below that all of your members and all of your clients.
Right.
So it's important that we come up with a word or a phrase that would mean something to me as the owner, to my staff, as well as my members. So I kind of call it the on-field team and the off-field team all understand what that theme is and what we're trying to accomplish. And then I use that theme as a filter. And so when an opportunity comes across your desk as a business owner, you go, okay, is that going to help me grow? Is that going to help me get stronger? Is that going to help me get my hustle mode on? Is that going to help me unify? Is that whatever it is? And if the answer's no, then you go, great opportunity, but no thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And Vern Harnish talks about in that book, Mastering the Rockefeller Habits, he talks about John D. Rockefeller, the wealthiest man on the planet at one stage, and probably if he was alive now, he would be again. And the thing that stands out for me about Rockefeller was his discipline. And you can imagine when you're that wealthy, all those opportunities coming by and through, and it's like his filter was this: will this reduce the costs of transporting oil across the United States? If the answer is yes, I'm interested in the opportunity. If the answer is no, I'm not interested in the opportunity, regardless of how good that opportunity is. And so as fitness business owners, we get these opportunities and they come in front of us like, hey, what about selling Amway to all your clients? And you go, oh, great. Like, that's not passive income. You still got to work.
Yeah.
And I'm not bagging Amway. I'm just using that as an example. Or another one, someone comes in and says, hey, have you thought about putting a commercial on at the movie cinemas? You go, oh, no. And then they beat that up and you go, oh, what a great opportunity.
Right.
And we emotionally justify it. I'm saying put that through your filter. And if that will help you get stronger, enhance your business, grow your business, then sure. If not, no matter what the cost is saying, no, you go, great opportunity, but it's not helping me get in that direction. So my tip number 3 is have a theme which gives you a responsibility or a filter, and then have the discipline to stick with it.
I love it, man. All right, so you are a wealth of knowledge. There's a ton of stuff that you know that I think people that listen to our show would love to learn more and more about. So do you have a blog, or where can they hear more content? Where can they get more from you? So
2 places. First place is 3 places. No, 2 places, 2. We'll just keep it simple. 2, we can go to my website, which is activemgmt.com.au.
Cool. Sam, you put that on the screen? Cool.
MGMT, active, mgmt.com.au. And then the second thing I do, which is a very new, well, it's not new, it's 6 months old, is that I do a Facebook Live show every Thursday in America, which is 1 o'clock in LA and 4 o'clock in New York. So work out whatever time frame you are in the US. And it's just a 15-minute show that I do live on Facebook. It's called JT in the Raw. It's not as polished and finished as this show, Mike. It literally is me walking out of a gym after a workout or wherever I am, and I just chew the thin for 15 minutes on business.
So what's your Facebook username so people can find you, your handle?
Justin Tamsett.
Justin Tamsett. So Sam, find that and then just put the URL on the screen as well so you can find him easy. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and follow you as soon as I get off. And man, this was great. A lot of really good stuff. I really hope people listen throughout the entire episode and rewound it a few times. And for those of you that are live right now, make sure that you watch the final edition. This is going to be live, 2 weeks? Not this Tuesday, next Tuesday? Cool. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much, JT. This has been great. And, man, I look forward to following you and learning more from you.
Hey, thanks a lot for the opportunity, Mike. I really appreciate it. And, my final message is everybody who's watching this week in, week out, they need to put this in their diary. They need to get this, the time that this goes live, they get it on in their diary and then allocate 15 to 20 minutes after the show to start implementing some of these ideas. Otherwise, you and I aren't helping anybody, and I'm sure you get the same buzz as I get when you hear about stories where people have watched the show and actually have implemented some ideas.
It's amazing. Yes, we post it in our Loud Rumor group all the time so everyone in the staff can see it. So very cool.
That's what we're after, yeah. That's our why.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much, JT, and I'll look forward to continuing to follow you.
Thanks, Mike.
Take care.
Catch you later.
Bye. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.